Today, one of my favorite series from MLB The Show 21 is going to be returning for MLB The Show 22, and that is me rating your Diamond Dynasty teams for MLB The Show 22. This year, we're starting at the beginning of the year. If you're new here, what I do, I rate 5 teams every single episode. In me rating your Diamond Dynasty teams, I rate the offense, the rotation, and the bullpen on a scale of 1 to 10. And the way you get chosen to be in this video, if you are not following me on Twitter or Instagram, make sure you go do that. You DM me those pictures. I pick random teams every single episode, and we try to help you guys improve your teams, or you might even have 99 overall Randy Johnson on your team. And if that's the case, I want to showcase your teams in these videos. This is going to be a ton of fun throughout the entire year. A ton of your teams are going to be showcased in this series. But one more thing I want to talk to you guys about before we get into this video. Today, I am YouTube's gaming creator on the rise. That is completely amazing. A huge achievement here in my YouTube career. If you guys go ahead and click the Explore tab on your YouTube channel, I'm going to put a screenshot for you guys on the screen right now. You are going to see Vinny Cobb pop up as the first thing. I can't believe that all of YouTube is going to see that if they go to the Explore tab. That is not possible without all of you guys watching the videos, loving the content that we're posting right now, and I love making the content for all of you. So that is a huge accomplishment in the YouTube career. We are going to keep grinding, and we are going to keep putting out awesome videos for you guys all year. And if you're new here, make sure to follow me over on Twitch as well, because we are live streaming a ton of MLB The Show 22 content the entire year. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get it.
Minika, watch me on Twitch, ooh, I'm streaming. I'm on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, red button beaming. Let's get that sub count, take over YouTube, ooh, we teaming. My content so high, ooh, yeah, I'm steaming. Ooh, yeah, I'm steaming. Red button beaming.
All right, everyone, it is time. We are back with rating your teams here in MLB The Show 22, and I have 5 teams for this episode. Once again, if you guys are new to the series, what you have to do is go over and follow me on Twitter or Instagram and DM me 2 pictures of your team, 1 of your starting lineup, and then 1 of your rotation and your bullpen. I rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, the bullpen, the starting rotation, and then the starting lineup, and I give it an overall grade out of 10. Today's just going to be on Twitter because Instagram is giving me some difficulties, but hopefully I can get that situated for future episodes of this series. We have 5 teams to go over today, so make sure you're following me on all the socials. So we have here our first team for MLB The Show 22, and it comes from Anderson Conchi here, and he has a really solid squad. A lot of live series cards. I will say here, the lack of face of the franchise cards I do find interesting here in team number 1. I feel like a lot of teams right now have a ton of face of the franchise cards on them, and he doesn't have many, but he does have a lot of great cards. The first one being 95 overall live series Mike Trout, and I guess he has OHTANI on this team too, because he does have that 95 overall Troy Gloss, the Angels live series collection. We have the 88 overall Mickey Mantle. We have 85 overall Kyle Tucker. Very interesting you wouldn't opt for the 90 overall Kyle Tucker face of the franchise card. I do like Tucker's swing a lot, but definitely there is a better Kyle Tucker in the game right now than 90 overall face of the franchise. We have Tatis playing second base, really like that. Prince Fielder at first, Mike Napoli behind the dish, and then Miguel Cabrera at the third baseman spot. So it's a very good team, but I do think there are improvements to be made on the offensive side of the ball, and I do think you're probably going to have the stubs to do it with all these collections being done. But I do think actually adding a couple of these face of the franchise cards would actually help out your team. So at third base, we have Miguel Cabrera, and I actually would try to move Miggy to the bench. I do love his swing, and he's excellent against lefties, so he could be a great bench bat for you against lefty arms, but his defense, a little bit of a liability for me at the third baseman spot. So I would take Troy Gloss, and I would play him over at third base at his primary position. Now you have the option here to put Tatis back at shortstop. He could be a defensive liability, but he does have a cannon of an arm and really good speed to make up for that. So you could leave Tatis at second base, but I would try to get either the 90 overall Francisco Lindor that I really like at the shortstop position, or I would go ahead and get Corey Seager. Very cheap. I don't know how many stubs you have to work with. That's why I'm going to go with that option here. Not a super expensive option. I do think Seager or Lindor would definitely benefit your team here. You get Lindor with another switch-handed bat. Seager gives you another lefty bat. That would be awesome. And then Tatis either stays at second base or he plays shortstop, whatever you want to do, and the other one would go to second base. And then Prince Fielder, I'm cool with that. First base, I'm really big on whoever swing you like the most. That's who you should use at first base. They have to have really good power, good against righties, definitely. I usually like to have a lefty bat. If you can get Josh Bell, it's a switch-handed bat. I really like that Josh Bell card. But Prince Fielder, pretty solid swing. He's a lefty, a lot of power, and if you really like his swing, that'll work for you at the first baseman spot. Mike Napoli, I do think is a top 7-ish catcher in the game right now, but I do think there are better options than Mike Napoli. I really like the Adley Rutschman card. I think he's really good if you have the stubs to go out and get that Jorge Posada. Then obviously, if you can upgrade to the great cards like that that Joe Mauer 96 overall. It looks like you have a lot of stubs, so if you have the stubs, so go get that 96 Joe Mauer. I think he's a top 3 card in the game, but Mike Napoli still a top 7 catcher in the game right now. Then Trout in the outfield, I'm cool with that. Trout obviously is a top 5 card in the game, so that's amazing, and you have him locked into the collection, so you can't sell him. And then we have Kyle Tucker in the outfield and Mickey Mantle. So Kyle Tucker, if you want to roll with Tucker, I would definitely upgrade to the 90 overall face of the franchise, Kyle Tucker, so that's cool if you want to keep going with him. I really like him. And then Mickey Mantle, I probably would get rid of if you can do the AL Central, get Grady Sizemore. That's a great option, top 10 card in the game. Or if you want to go with some of the faces of the franchise cards, we have Brian Reynolds, Byron Buxton, Luis Robert. I think they're all better than this Mickey Mantle card, but another switch-handed bat and Mantle, so I do like the play. He is a well-rounded card, but I do think there are better options. So here we go, our first grade on the offense here in MLB The Show 22. So you have a lot of hitting, you have a good lefty-righty balance here, you have a couple switch hitters. I am going to give this offense an 8.6 out of 10. Then we're going to have the rotation and the bullpen. I think the offense was very solid, but I actually think the starting pitchers and the bullpen might be better than the starting lineup here. So for the starting pitchers, we have Verlander, Robbie Ray, Corbin Burns, Shohei Ohtani, and Dallas Keuchel. I love that 92 Keuchel card, elite pitcher in the game right now. Ohtani, I'm not the biggest fan of actually on the mound, but the fact that he can hit definitely boosts him probably into the top 5 starting pitchers right now. 88 overall Corbin Burns, that card is elite. Really like his live series card. As for Verlander and Ray, I definitely think you can do better. I would probably go try to get somebody like a Jacob deGrom if you have the stubs, Mike Messina if you can. I think that 92 overall David Price actually is kind of down your alley because he's kind of the same card as Dallas Keuchel. Very similar pitch mix, couple different pitches, but very similar cards, and I believe they're both 92 overall Cy Young cards, so that's pretty similar. So I'd probably go ahead and get that card, but I really like the rotation. I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. And finally, for this team, we're going to have the bullpen. You have a lot of the elite bullpen arms in the game right now on your team. You have parallel 5 90 overall faces of the franchise. Aroldis Chapman, that is really sick. That's one of the first parallel 5 Chapmans that I've seen in the game right now. We have Jose Alvarado, 85 overall, elite lefty in the bullpen right now. Hader's an elite lefty. Rizal has that funky pitch release that's difficult to time up. I really like him. Devin Williams, excellent per 9 stats. You have the 91 Mo, which I really like. You have the 85 overall Adam Ottavino and 90 overall Emmanuel Clase. This bullpen is elite. There's definitely room to improve when you can with like that 96 overall Kenley Jansen, 91 overall Andrew Miller, but this bullpen is still elite. I think it's the best part of your team right now. I am going to give it a 9.3 out of 10. So overall, I am going to give your team an 8.9 out of 10. The next team up is going to come from Dylan Schumacher or Shoemaker. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm definitely going to mispronounce a lot of your guys' names in this series, so feel free to let me know in the comments down below because I don't want to make that mistake again. We have Spencer Torkelson at third base. Heard a lot of good things about that card. I've tried him a couple times in Battle Royale. Really good swing. Very cheap budget card right now too. That card's pretty good. Lindor I love. Seager I love. CJ Cron is a good first baseman, but I do think there are better options you can use at the first baseman spot. I love Adley, switch-handed bat, very well rounded. That's a very good card. In the outfield, we have Trout, Mullins, Mickey Mantle. A lot of people using that Mickey Mantle card for a good reason. He's a pretty solid card, extremely budget friendly. So here we go. Okay, Spencer Torkelson. I don't think his defense is that good, so I would try to either play Torkelson or Cron at first base. Like I said with the other team before, I would try to upgrade your third baseman spot, somebody with a little better defense because you don't want a liability defensively at the hot corner. Then we have Lindor and Seager. Great middle infield. That's the middle infield I'm using on my team right now, so I really like that. I'm a little biased there. Then Cron or Torkelson, like I said already, at the first baseman spot. Choose one of them, whichever swing you like better, and then upgrade your third baseman spot defensively a little bit. Adley, nothing much to say here. He's a great card, great contact, great power, really solid defender, and pretty solid speed. Love that Adley Rutschman card, top 3 catcher in the game. Then in the outfield, we have Trout. Obviously, not much to say about that. This 90 overall face of the franchise Trout card, I'm batting over 500 with, I think, on my main team. He's going insane for me right now. Mullins, I love this card. He's actually not on my main team right now because I do find a little bit better success with Robert and Buxton, but Mullins is right there behind them. These face of the franchise outfielders are amazing. Lefty swing, a lot of pop. He has a good strike zone size. And then we have Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle, I don't know. Do you like the switch hitter aspect of Mickey Mantle? He is a very well-rounded card, so I do see why you would like to put him in the outfield. But I do think there are a lot of face of the franchise cards better than Mickey Mantle, so I probably would replace him. But if you really like Mantle, you like the switch-handed aspect of it, keep going with him. But this offense is very, very good. I'm going to give it an 8.8 out of 10. So now we have the rotation and the bullpen. We're going to start things off here with 88 overall Randy Johnson. I honestly am not a fan of facing Randy Johnson cards. I find him extremely difficult because he is a new legend in the game, new pitch release to get used to, and he's 6'10". I feel like his foot is already at the batter's box by the time he releases the ball. ball. A lot of people don't like that the 99 was the collection reward, but I am not looking forward to facing that 99 overall card. Then we have Marcus Stroman, who I do like, really good pitch mix. Casey Mize, not the biggest fan of this card. Logan Webb, kind of like Marcus Stroman, very similar pitch mixes. Really like those cards. Two really good budget face of the franchise cards. And I don't know much about this Perez prospect card, but I have heard some things that he is a pretty solid pitcher. So I guess this rotation is pretty solid. You have some good face of the franchise cards. I don't like facing Randy Johnson. If people find Randy Johnson BP, then I guess they'll do good against him, but I'm not one of those people. I am going to give this rotation an 8.6 out of 10. I think it's very solid. Obviously, you don't have any of the crazy live series cards like OHTANI, like DeGrom, like Scherzer. You don't have the collection awards like Messina, Randy Johnson, but eventually you will, and it'll get better. Then in the bullpen, we have Blake Trinan, we have Brian Wilson, Aroldis Chapman, 85 overall Joe Nathan, Jose Alvarado, Kerry Wood, we have 90 overall Billy Wagner, and then we have Devin Williams 90 overall card. I do like it. Let's see the lefty-righty mix. You do have 3 lefties in Wagner, Alvarado, and Chapman. Whenever you can upgrade to the 90 overall Chapman, that's just going to make your bullpen that much better. Then Brian Wilson and Trinan, they'll start to phase out when you can get guys like Class A into this bullpen as well, but it is very good for right now. You have excellent lefties in my opinion. I really do like the bullpen, so I am going to give the bullpen an 8.2 out of 10. Overall, I'm going to give your team an 8.5 out of 10. Our next team comes from our friend Jacob here, and Jacob has 9,000 stubs to upgrade his team. Wants our opinion. What card should he go out and get? And also, this is his first year playing MLB The Show, so we have to help him out. So in the outfield, we have 81 overall Joey Gallo. I love that. He can play a lot of different positions, and he's a great budget card. Then we have that 84 overall Jim Edmonds. He's really solid. In the outfield, also, we have Hunter Renfroe, 82 overall, 83 overall Harmon Killebrew. That's a pretty solid card, especially against lefties. 84 overall Paul Molitor, and then 84 overall Michael Young, 88 overall Jackie, the free Jackie Robinson, and then 84 overall MJ Melendez. So some of these cards I actually don't know too much about because I've never used them. The Michael Young, don't know much about him. The Paul Molitor, don't really know much about that card either. I do know Molitor cards usually have pretty good contact, not good enough power. So for the third baseman spot, what I would do, I would go ahead and get a very good budget option that you can. And I have a full video for you, Jacob. It's going to come in clutch for you. Full budget videos with cards less than 5,000 stubs at every single position. So instead of walking through every single position, it'd be a little too difficult. I have a lot of options over there. Go check out that video and you can choose from that video which ones to go with. But at the third baseman spot, you want somebody with a little more power and a little bit better defense. Not sure what Molitor's defense is, but you want somebody with good power. That's the most important part of a third baseman spot. At the shortstop position, Michael Young again, I think he has pretty solid contact, not good enough power. I would probably try to upgrade your shortstop position as well. I really like the live series Francisco Lindor, glitchy switch-handed bat, very good card, and he's a very cheap card right now. 88 overall Jackie, your first diamond, he's going to stay on the team, so we want that card on the team. That's fine at the second baseman position. Harmon Killebrew is cool, but I normally like to use my first baseman as somebody that's really good against righties because most of the time you face righties in game, but you could keep Killebrew on your bench, and then if you face a lefty starter, you can bring him in. So Jared Walsh or Joey Votto, two really solid lefty first basemans in my opinion. I really like them. You can stay with Killebrew, but I would probably go to those cards. Keep Killebrew on the bench, and if your opponent has a lefty on the mound, bring in Killebrew. Then for the catcher position, MJ Melendez. There are a ton of free catchers you can get actually. Mike Piazza is a really solid option you can get in the Nation of Baseball Conquest. So if you finish that, you can get a free Diamond 88 overall Mike Piazza. I think he'd be better than Melendez, but this card is pretty solid for me in Battle Royale, so he's a pretty solid option. Gallo and Renfroe, they'll bring a lot of power to your team. They're really solid in the field too. They're not the fastest in the world, but they're actually not bad for the outfield in my opinion. They're going to bring you those power bats that you need on your team. So for a budget team, this is really solid to have Gallo and Renfroe. And Jim Edmonds, I've used this card a couple times and I've heard a lot of good things about this card. So I actually think your outfield is pretty solid. If you have to upgrade first, I would start with the infield and then work your way to the outfield after that. So for the offense here, we are going to give it, it's a full budget team, we are going to give it a 5.8 out of 10. So the offense wasn't bad, but the starting pitching and the bullpen definitely can use some work. And just as you grind the game more, you're going to start to get those faces of the franchise cards. That's what you want to get onto your team, not only for your rotation and your bullpen, but obviously also your starting lineup here. So for the starting pitchers, you're also going to get those legends and flashback cards, which are going to be great from those packs, like the Jim Edmonds, like the John Smoltz. You're going to get that AJ Burnett soon. You could add him to the rotation because you don't want to have live series Paxton and Pablo Lopez in your rotation right now. But you do have a couple thousand stubs to spend. Some really good budget guys, somebody like Lance Lynn, really good good pitch selection like him. Lance McCullers is really solid too. A lot of budget options for pitchers, have videos on that as well. Make sure to go check those videos out. And then for the bullpen, this could use a lot of work. The only really good reliever you have in here is that 80 overall Rich Gossage. But again, as you get that 81 overall Brian Wilson, I think it's an 80 or 81 overall Mariano Rivera from the Legend and Flashbacks. That's going to come in clutch. And then for the bullpen, there's a lot of great budget options too. You have that Camilo Doval card. You have Aaron Loop. Those two silver cards are really good. Darren O'Day. You can get the bronze Adam Ottavino because his release is pretty interesting. If you have a couple extra stubs, the Live Series Devin Williams, Live Series Blake Trinan, those cards are really solid. So the offense was definitely better than the rotation and the bullpen. I'm going to give the rotation a 4.1 out of 10 and the bullpen, not very good. I have to be honest with you. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 10. So overall, I'm going to give your team a 4.2, 4.3 out of 10. But as you get more stubs, as you grind the faces of the franchise program, you're going to get a ton of free cards for your team. Two more teams in this episode here, and the next one comes from Eli. Very good team here from Eli. We have our first cap of the year. I personally don't use a cap on my team, but if you do, that's completely cool. Caps are great for the beginning of the year. They have some of the best stats in the game if you upgrade your ball player a lot. So I'm completely cool with that. Then we have Corey Seager at the shortstop position and Ozzie Albies at the second baseman spot. At first base, we see that 90 overall Spencer Torkelson. We have 91 overall Adley Rutschman. And the outfield, we have Cedric Mullins, Acuna, the Live Series Acuna, which is obviously better than the 90 overall Acuna. And then we have 90 overall Julio Rodriguez. So let's start off with the infield here. Cap, not much to say there. That's completely cool with me. Corey Seager, love this card. Top 3 shortstop in the game right now. I do prefer to play him at second base because of the lack of defense. So Corey Seager can stay at shortstop if you want to. As for Ozzie Albies in the second baseman spot, I would probably try to go for somebody like Jazz. Ray Durham is really good. Tommy Edman. I think Ozzie Albies is a really good bench bat in case you go up against a lefty. But Ozzie Albies, I would say, probably should be on the bench instead of the starting lineup for this team because I do think you have better options. Lindor is a good option too. Shortstop, can put him at second base. Spencer Torkelson, we talked about him enough. He's really good at the first baseman spot. Adley Rutschman, love this card, talked about him. Cedric, we know, lefty bat, which is awesome to get into your lineup. Really good strike zone, excellent power, pretty solid defender this year. They made him way better in the field. You have a really good lefty-righty balance here with a lot of switch hitters. You have 3 in your cap, Adley and Ozzie Albies, but if you do get rid of Ozzie and you replace him with Lindor, you get that switch-handed bat right back. And the Julio Rodriguez I actually haven't used, but I have heard this card is really good, so I do really like the offense, and it looks like you have some diamonds on your bench in case you want to sub some guys in. So what are we going to give this offense? I am going to give this offense, if you didn't have Albies, I think it might reach a 9 here, but with Ozzie Albies, I think I'm just going to put it under a 9 at an 8.9 out of 10. So I really like the starting lineup. Now we're going to have the rotation and the bullpen here. The bullpen definitely could use some work from my first glance right here. The starting rotation, though, is pretty solid. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Casey Mize's card. I don't think he's very good, but I do like Logan Webb and Marcus Stroman. None of these face of the franchise cards really have really good hits per 9, which is definitely going to cost them a spot on your rotation later on in the year. They'll probably get phased out pretty quickly, but for right now, they are solid. You want that good pitch selection. Logan Webb, sinker, cutter. So I really do like those cards. Jack Leiter, I don't know too much about this card. Don't really know his stats. Really don't know his pitch selection. So if you want to keep rolling with him, that's cool with me, but I would try to replace Casey Mize. And the Perez, a lot of people are using him. He's a really good budget option. Pretty solid prospect card here. So the rotation is solid. I am going to give this rotation a 7.8 out of 10. And then for the bullpen, definitely could use some work. We have Chapman, which is really good. We have the Live Series Class A, still has Outlier, which is solid. The Brian Wilson I like. I really don't like the 81 overall Mariano Rivera. Dibble is insanely good right now, especially if you're going up against a newer player. They can't hit that 102 miles per hour fastball. Gossage is good. And then Blake Trinan is solid. So the bullpen is solid, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of room for improvement with the face of the franchise cards. Jose Alvarado's a really good bullpen option that comes from collections. Darren O'Day, the 82 overall collection from the Orioles, is really solid too. So when you get the stubs, just do some collections, get some of these faces of the franchise cards, the Class A, the Devin Williams. So the bullpen, I am going to give right now a 6.7 out of 10. So overall, I am going to give your team a 8 out of 10. And the final team of the episode comes from Jadis. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. In the comments down below, let me know to say that so I get it right next time. But we have a no money spent team here, and you know we're doing a no money spent series on the channel. So this team is elite for a no money spent team. This is better than our no money spent team, in my opinion, because I see a 95 overall Live Series Mike Trout. After that, our teams are pretty similar, but the fact that you have Trout completely blows my team out of the water here. We have 89 overall Evan Longoria, which is a top 5 third baseman in the game. Really good power. He has really good defensive stats. I really like that at the hot corner. Lindor, top 5-6 shortstop in the game. Like that too. We have another Cap. That's going to be at second base, so that's cool with me. This Bellinger card, extremely underrated. Some people don't know how good Bellinger cards actually are. If this is your first year playing Diamond Dynasty, Dynasty, Bellinger has a top tier swing in the game every single year. This card has excellent defensive stats, pretty solid speed, and pretty solid power, but the swing makes it even better at the plate than the stats actually say. Adley, we talked about him. A lot of people actually have Adley. Very surprised with all of you guys having Adley for the most part in this video because he is a little difficult to get. People don't know, to get this 91 overall Adley rush, you need 25 prospects, I believe, to get this Adley. So a lot of people do have him. He has a really good card though, and that makes sense on why they would get him. Trout though, that is insane. Let me know, how did you get Trout? Did you pull Trout? Did you buy Trout? That is insane. Love Trout on this team. Buxton in center field. Love Buxton in center field. Top tier center fielder in the game. And then we don't see a lot of Mitch Haniger. This card also very underrated. Really good power. Pretty solid defender. Pretty solid contact. I really like this card. He has a really good swing. He's extremely underrated because he's in the same pack as Corey Seager and the 90 overall Mike Trout. But this card is really good. This might be the best offense we've seen so far in today's episode. I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. Offense was amazing, and the starting rotation looks really, really solid. Bullpen, again, could use some work at first glance. We have 89 overall Garrett Cole, 88 Corbin Burns. Love Corbin Burns cards. Parallel 4, 88 overall Randy Johnson. We have Alek Manoah out of parallel 3 and Jack Leiter. So Manoah's pretty solid from the face of the franchise program. I'm going to say you probably got him for free, so I'm sure he's probably non-sellable for you, so you probably want to keep him in the rotation here. Randy Johnson, we talked about him. Corbin Burns cards, love the live series version. He'll get an upgraded card at some point. That card's going to be elite. Garrett Cole, I've never been the biggest fan of his cards in game. He never has the best pitch selection, never has really fast stuff to hit. I honestly don't find him very difficult to hit, and I'm a Yankees fan. I wish Garrett Cole cards were better, so I don't think this card's actually worth it. I would probably sell him and get the stubs I can, but if you like him, keep rolling with him. And then Jack Leiter, we said, I actually don't know too much about this card. He's your 5th starter in your rotation to keep that full diamond rotation, so he's solid for me. If you like him, keep going with him. Then the bullpen, we definitely could use some work. Talked about a lot of the great bullpen arms are ready to go out and get. Jose Alvarado, the 90 overall, the Aroldis Chapman, the Darren O'Day from the Orioles collection. You have a lot of room to improve in this bullpen here. Go check out my budget bullpen video. So the rotation, I am going to give 8.6 out of 10. And then the bullpen, I am going to give a 7.3 out of 10. So overall, we are going to give your team an 8.5 out of 10. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for the first episode of me rating your Diamond Dynasty teams in MLB The Show 22. If you want to be featured in the next episode, make sure you're following me at my social links. Send me your team, send me a DM with the pictures that you saw in this video, one of your starting lineup and one of your pitching staff. There's going to be a ton of these episodes throughout the entire year. So if you don't get picked for this episode or a future episode, don't worry. Hopefully I will get to everybody in these type of videos. But if you enjoyed it and you found it useful, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you're new. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.